Alrighty, welcome back indeed for more PoE. Now what we're going to be doing is the different guardians of the map. There's actually 4 different guardians that we will be defeating, and as you start conquering more maps, you're going to start seeing them in like all red pretty much once we get more of these watchstones in. And at some point you will start seeing these as maps that you can actually get as a drop. You can also purchase these from players, so it'd be like just type in Phoenix map, Minotaur map, Chimaera map, and Hydra map. You want to grab all of these. Now the drops from the Shaper are okay. There is one thing called Dying Sun that is actually pretty nice, but at this point it's probably not going to be worth a lot of money. However, there are some people that just like to farm this guy, which is going to be something that we will be talking about once we've completed all of the Guardian maps. So when we kill the Guardian, it's going to drop a fragment, and then we're going to put all these fragments in the map, and then we're going to be fighting another super boss. Now the maps themselves are the exact same as any other map. You just go in there and you just kill all the enemies, and at the end there's going to be a boss. I'm just going to fast forward it to the boss because the map, it's kind of pointless. These maps are very difficult, especially for your first time, so do not enable the Maven, and also just run them white. So basically just scour all of them. And if you do purchase these from players, they're about 10 chaos each. You can just get them as drops as well. But generally, since these are all tier 16 maps, I'm just going to use a chisel on them. If you want to, you can technically throw in like a transmutation and throw something that like doesn't really matter. So like monsters gain a power charge on hit, or like anything that like isn't going to be that big of a deal. But if you have, let's say, like you cannot deal X amount of damage, or they're inhabited by a certain enemy, whatever the case may be. If you want to make it, you can, but like just for the sake of the play session, if you want to make it as easy as possible, just run them white. And I recommend that if it's your first time as well, because it is quite difficult. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna fast forward just to the boss, because again the map is the same thing. You just kill some stuff, and then it's optional if you want to kill the boss, but definitely kill the boss, as it's going to be dropping the item. So yeah, we're going to just fast forward to right when we get to the boss of all of these. But alright, we're on the Minotaur boss fight. You can do these in any order, it doesn't really matter. But right before you go into the arena, make a portal, because you more than likely may die, and the Minotaur, in my personal opinion, is the most difficult one. So there's a few mechanics to him that can be very dangerous. One thing that I would recommend, so that there's no or technically less overlapping rings, because obviously we can't go over here. So if there's a ring that gets summoned that will have these rocks that fall, it covers less of the map up. And basically the thing that will kill you on the Minotaur, he burrows and he'll unburrow, and it's just like an instant rip if he opens up on you. Sometimes he does massive amounts of damage. There's also these areas where like you can get shocked, and that will also contribute to taking more damage. So getting the reduce effect on the Pantheon, which is the soul of Garukan. I know my face is blocking it, but it's just the one on the very far left. I also really like having skeletons, because if you one-shots the skeletons, there's no problem. He's going to spawn in over here. He's going to start up. So when he does that little like burrow thing, when you don't see him, that's when it's very dangerous. That's when you want to be scared of him. And then once in a while, I like to summon skeletons. Hugging the walls can really help out. Just make sure you can always see him on the screen. And hug the wall, it makes it much easier. There will be things that fall down from the sky also. I try to just hug any wall. It doesn't have to be like left or right side. But see how there's these rocks that come down? That's what I'm trying to like not get hit by. And also there's these lightning things that will come out. I'm going to resummon my golem, summon some more skeletons, because I have no idea where he's at. And if he pops up, you can insta-pop. That's why I like the skeleton strategy, and that's also why I always recommend people to have them. It can kind of help out, but we got unlucky. That happens. But it's kind of the luck of the draw sometimes with this guy. At least that's how I feel. Like, if your HP threshold is like big enough, like you just burrowed again. I think he jumped on a skeleton, which is totally fine. No biggie. He's going in again. Can't see him, just gotta be careful. Resummon our golem. Get some more skeletons out, so we can maybe get lucky. Skeletons is like the cheapest form of like maybe getting some extra defense on him. But yeah, like I said, the pop is pretty nasty. I guess I can't even survive. I probably dodged that one. Like my character, or I'm sorry, evade is what it's called now, because there's no dodge anymore. Dodge got ripped. But yeah, we should be able to take him down pretty easy. It's just there's the burrow. And he will be going down in just a second. Maybe if I pop my flasks, it would be like a little bit more okay, but he got us once, but it's okay if you die on him. Like I said, I personally consider him the hardest one. And the biggest tip is to try to stay against the wall. And sometimes your evasion, you'll get unlucky. But what I could have done to maybe survive is pop a flask. You know, there's just a better chance that you might survive. This also gives us the additional like phasing. Not that there's too many enemies in there, but like I said, Minotaur is definitely the most difficult one, so he's dead now. Next up, we've got the Phoenix. So once again, just do the map and make sure you put a portal. This one is actually pretty easy once you know that you cannot take the slam damage almost no matter what. Like the slam damage just hits for an insane amount. So pretty much they attack in a straight line. He's always going to do that move almost every single time on the opening start. This move when he's charging up, just move out of the way. Just stand super far back. He's actually super easy once you learn that one move. I think this one, I wouldn't really say you need to summon the skeletons, but I mean, it's never bad. It's just that move where he charges up for a few moments where it becomes hard. And also, don't take damage from the tornadoes. Just don't get within melee range and you'll be fine. Because when you're not within melee range, that thing won't be able to hit you at all. Now he's doing his little charge attack.
My mana is gone.
So when he's charging up, that's he's doing his charge up attack once again. Just move out of the way, don't get hit by the tornadoes. The map does get like kind of cluttery with the amount of like things that go on in this map.
I'm not up to that just yet.
But I wouldn't really worry about it too much. He's pretty easy. Ooh, he hit us with that right there. But we were fine. Okay, because he hit us twice over there, but we should be okay. Good. There we go. That culling strike kicking in. Very nice. And then, so now we've got 2 of the fragments. We're going to collect all of them. I'll put them all in like, kind of the correct order. Next up, we got the Chimaera and the Hydra. But that is the Phoenix. It's just when he puts his hands together and he's doing his big charge up attack. It's the only thing that you really need to worry about at all with him. But that's Phoenix down. All right. Once again, make sure we got a portal. This is going to be the Chimaera map. So with this guy, the only thing that we gotta get careful of is where there's a giant red ring. When that happens, make sure you're not inside of the ring. Most of the other hits aren't that bad that he does. There's just one mechanic in particular that makes him like super unfair if you don't know how it works. Because you can't even damage him. So in between fights, he will go away. Like I believe it's at like quarter intervals, he'll go away. And so he'll summon some stuff, you can re-get your flash charges. I have all my flasks on auto, which is something we'll talk about eventually. But it's really not that great for bosses. Because sometimes bosses, as soon as you get your flash charges up, they're like, okay, I'm going into my other phase. But, yeah, it'll refill your flasks. Most of the stuff isn't really that big of a deal. One of them does like some chaos damage. So he hit us kind of hard over there, but if you want to, I'm pretty sure you can just go back at any time if you want to. There's that red ring. I didn't go back because of that. I just wanted to mention it. If you want to get like your forbidden tastes to reset, that's a good way to get it to reset. He does hit you up with some bleed, but we have steel skin, so that makes us immune to it. And you can just like shoot once, move, and you'll be relatively safe on him. Honestly, he's not too bad. So he's over here, he's chilling. So yeah, like I said, it's about at quarter intervals, so he's at 50% now. And he's about to do the one thing that makes this fight like OP. He's gonna create some smoke clouds, and when he makes these smoke clouds, you have to go inside them. Otherwise, he just won't come out. And it's a guessing game too. So when he makes these smoke clouds like he is right now, go through all of the smoke clouds. Oh, he's hitting us a lot. There we go. And then he'll pop out eventually. Which one is he in? It's kind of RNG. Just go through all of them, and you'll find them. Like I said, if you want to, like if you want to reset your flash charges, because dying once you are like at a higher level, you have 6 portals. You know, it's okay if you do die, but ideally you want to try not to. The only one that I feel like is a little bit unfair is specifically the Minotaur pops, because sometimes there's so much visual clutter from the lightning, the little like dust that's left behind. It's just a lot of stuff. Unfortunately, we took 2 savage hits, so we don't have flash charges for this. I want this to have flash charges. There we go. As long as we get 1 flash charge, we'll be okay. He's doing this thing again. We'll go hit up some of these. Oh, okay, we found him the first time. Like I said, I'm doing this to reset flash charges. It's a good strategy. And you get to refill your flasks. And that specifically for us, that gives us more damage, is going to be the Doju's elixir, because it got a massive buff. I actually do this metamorph too, but yeah, that's it. The Chimaera down. Okay, so now once again, create another portal. We're going to be doing the layer of the Hydra, and we'll summon our golem. And don't worry too much about the skeletons on this one. This is probably what I would consider one of the easiest ones. So for this one, like I said, don't worry about the skeletons. But there's a bunch of balls that come from the left and right sides. That's all you gotta really watch out for. There are also these little things that can go on the ground that are white. Don't get touched by them, but there's so much visual clutter because of tornado shot, you may not see them. But if you are farther away from him, he will do this thing that like has these projectiles like bounce, but it's not really that difficult, especially since I've been scaling so much movement speed. This one should be one of the easiest ones. So they'll disappear sometimes, kill some stuff, get some flash charges. There we go, we can pop this. Just once again move and shoot once in a while, so we'll be okay. The balls are pretty easy to dodge. I like having the golem. The reason why is not only for the life regen, but it tells me where the guy's at, because he's kind of a sneaky one.
My mana is gone.
Summon the golem when we can. Okay, there we go. I can't even keep track of him. Where is he hiding? Oh, there he is. Like I said, there's so much visual clutter. There we go. And now we've got all of the fragments. And we're going to be combining all of them to make a super boss very soon. Alright, so we're going to show off the Maven mechanic of a multi-boss fight. So in order for you to get one of these Maven invitations, eventually there's a guy that will just pop up in the maps, and eventually you'll be able to see this when you can select this. This is where it would be on. This is just something that will just happen as you progress in the game, and eventually you're going to be able to put in your map and then select this. Now some of them, they might say like this is too low, or Maven has already witnessed it. So I've already killed like the boss while I have Maven witness the fight. So some of these might be too low, but as you start progressing, or it'll still say she like has no interest in this region or something like that. But this one over here, when this is enabled, the boss will be much harder. They will get like insane amount of regen, or it'll make the boss fights harder. But eventually when you defeat enough bosses in that area, you will then get a Maven's Invitation, and this will open up the ability to put in more skill points on a different tree. And we're going to go ahead and just do one. These boss fights can be kind of hard, but we should be a-okay on this one because it's like a relatively lower one. But let me go ahead and activate my buffs. and then we'll
I'm
go
not up to
in.
that just yet.
But these will generally happen maybe around yellowish maps, so it'll be like a good like time frame for the ability to be invited in terms of like progression time. So now we have, yeah, these first few will be relatively easy. Like there's gonna be multi-bosses. And in attack. So be careful, even if you kill all the bosses, sometimes there's still something that will like do damage to you, so just be aware of that. So now that we've defeated the bosses from the invitation, what we're going to get is a new tree. Now, there's multiple trees that we'll be able to put in points. Depending on your region, they have different ones, and like this one I've kind of spec'd out to do rituals, as I really like that mechanic. It's up to you and what you want to invest your points into. Like this one over here, we have like the Einhar where you get to capture these beasts. We can do that. We can do the expedition. I think this is what the expedition one is, yeah. And then there's invasion bosses. So basically you have a higher chance to get whatever mechanic you want. Like the breach is the little like red circle that slowly starts opening up. If I want to do the Einhar mechanic, or if you like heist, you can have a 10% chance to get a smuggler's cache. That's where the heist mechanic will pop up. It's totally up to you on which mechanic that you like. Breach is kind of nice to do. I personally do like the expeditions, so I'm just going to select this. So we have 3% chance, and then we get more explosives. Let me see what else we can get on this. We have remnants of 40% chance for another suffix. So it modifies some of the endgame content that you can select what you want to do. So I've been actually really liking breaches. The reason why, like, I do want logbooks, but there's no additional like chance for logbooks. So you know what? I'm just gonna do breaches, and we're gonna put my points into this, and then we have increased area effect, monster density, open and close 50% faster. That can be kind of nice. Ooh, this could be nice as well. 1% chance of the breach stones dropped by the boss. Okay, well, I mean, that's kind of nice too. This could be an option. You can go whatever one. I'm probably end up getting both, but each one of these will have its own little skill tree, and as you progress, you'll unlock it. But that's kind of how the Maven works. Alright, one thing I want to show off is how we can get these other god powers. So, I'm going to move my face out of the way real quick. And I've already captured one of these. So I've captured Latanius the Black Prayer, which when we select it, we will have all of the bonuses. So we have like, you cannot be stunned if we've been stunned or blocked a stun within the past 2 seconds. There's also Capture Nassar. That will give us block and stun recovery. That could be good as well. In fact, it's best just to get all of them in one category, because you can benefit off of all of these, unless your character has like cannot be frozen already. But most people would probably want to get this. It's the one that I recommend. So if we want to capture Latanius the Black Prayer, my suggestion is to go to Google, type in Latanius the Black Prayer. I'll also share screens in 1 second. So I would just go to it, and I'm going to be actually doing one of them for you guys right now. So what we're going to need to do is we will actually go to the wiki or just Google it, and you'll see the characters, the name right here, and then it'll say locations, this map. It also will tell you the map tier, but the wiki's kind of outdated. Some of these maps will be different like tiers. So what you're going to want to do is, if it is a red map, make sure you're a little bit better geared. But that's why I kind of show you guys this now versus like earlier on. Even though you want to do these earlier on, I would say for a beginner, some of these maps can be a little bit more difficult, like this one over here that we're going to be doing. Poporo, the Highest Spire, he is going to be actually in a red map, which is a tier 15. Which could be a little bit more challenging. Now, for these maps, I would not recommend, if you are a beginner, to modify these, as you're going to require a Divine Vessel. So you can get this as a drop, or you can buy it from other players. At the moment, it is currently about 1 chaos, 2 chaos. That's usually about average what these actually sell for. So what we're going to do with this is we're going to actually put it inside the map device along with this. So if it's your first time, just run it white, and what you're going to do is you're going to kill the boss like normal, but when you're finished with it, you have to come back and take it out to get the legendary power. The one that I would recommend doing is the Latanius, so you can be immune to freeze, and I'm going to do Popero as well. In fact, I'm going to do all these, but choose the one that you really want. It could be, you get one major and one minor, so pick the ones that you want. And you can go with it. If you want my recommendation, as far as like if you're kind of just using my build guide here, I like Garukan because I really like the reduction of shock effect on us, and then I also don't like to be maimed. Blinded isn't really something that I really worry about, but maim is something where it does slow you down, and like maim and hinder are not very fun. But I also really like getting Varesh, which makes it so you can have reduced effective curses on you, and like if I run a map, sometimes I'll swap pieces of gear in and out just so I can be curse immune. But you can check out all of them. A lot of them will have certain things that are kind of nice to have. This one, everyone's going to have immunity to corrupted blood from the tree, so that one's probably not going to be super desirable. But like these are the ones that I personally like. Shock will get you killed a lot of times, and it's just nice not to deal with it. Ignite, there's one for Ignite, I think, too. But these are the ones that I would recommend. But yeah, like I said, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna put these in, and then we're gonna kill. We're gonna put these in, and we will go ahead and actually be able to kill the boss. There we go. So yeah, we're gonna kill the boss, and it will be a little bit harder. You can see it'll deal more damage. But yeah, I'm just gonna resume it right when we get to the boss, and you just do the map like normal. You don't have to clear it out. You just do the boss is the most important thing. So we'll go start it, and I'll fast forward it to right where we get to the boss. Alright, so coming up to the boss right now, this guy's gonna get melted real fast. I like to sit further away because I have more damage from further away. And Karina the Challenger, let's pop our flask, and oops, they are melted. So after you defeat the boss, you're gonna go back in to the hideout, click on the map device. You can still clear out the map, but I just do this so I don't forget. So you take this over to Sin. So you might be able to be in your hideout, but more than likely the easiest place is you can just go to the epilogue, Oriath, go over here, and he'll just be like up and to the left. And now we will have the other power unlocked, and I'm gonna go move my face cam out of the way so it doesn't block it. So then you talk to Sin, and now we will have the captured Popero in white text, and in the blue text under it. That means that we have the effect. Now, I do not have the 30% increase stun and block recovery, but that's what I would want to do next, because you might as well get all of them. It's literally a free buff that your character can have. Alrighty, so next thing I want to go ahead and go over is the build in terms of like other upgrades and improvements that you guys can consider. Keep in mind, everything that I'm mentioning is always going to be optional. Right now, I do definitely want to buy, since I do have 2 extra Exalted Orbs, I do want to invest into getting a Watcher's Eye, and I'll show you exactly what the heck that looks like, as well as going over things that you can, again, decide if you want for yourself or not. So first off, in terms of the tree, and I'll also include the POB down below, in case any of you guys want to download Path of Building, now would be a really good time that you've now understand the game. Getting extra tools to download to make it much better for like the experience, because we can't really count brittle. I've already mentioned before that like we definitely want to get the Secrets of Suffering over here, because that will heavily improve our damage. Another thing that I did grab over here was the Dagger Mastery. Critical strikes have Culling Strike. What that means is when they are 10% or lower, when we hit them, they just automatically get deleted. So it's really nice specifically against bosses, as bosses tend to get harder. They'll have like a different like phase, or there's basically more difficulty that gets added the lower the HP of a boss gets, or even other monsters. But the thing is that Culling Strike really helps out with that, so you get a lot more damage when you get Culling Strike as well. And in addition to that, I also invested 1 point into Cold Mastery to get the cold exposure to get another -2 cold resistance. That was kind of nice as well, but nothing really too big in terms of like what I've modified on the tree. And I'm still maxed out on our spell suppression chance for our defensive stats. I'll just go over the tree like real quick over here. Like I said, there really wasn't anything big that I did change at all, other than getting the Culling Strike. And again, all of these are optional. That's with the Lionized Fall. If you're getting all these dagger nodes and these claw nodes, you have to make sure you do get the Lionized Fall. But if you do happen to have the currency for better things, There really isn't any upgrades here as well. What I do want to get is Awaken added cold damage, but that's a relatively expensive thing. It could be about 3 exalts, at least as of right now. Just trying to make sure that you keep up your resistances at, at least 75 on everything. That will include chaos resistance once you start getting towards the end of the game, and that will definitely help you out, as well as with the Pantheon powers, which I just showed you guys how to unlock. But basically just still try to get some upgrades if you can. And it's always great to see the exact thing that you have, and you might be overcapped on, let's say, like fire, cold, lightning resistance. Maybe one of them you have too much resistance. It's totally fine to also have extra resistance. However, when you do go into certain maps, it won't take that into consideration because your max is default by 75, but there are maps where you'll be affected by something else that does lower your resistance, so it is okay to get even more resistances. But what I'd focus more on is maybe, like right now we are currently 10 over on chaos resistance. I could search for a different quiver that maybe has better stats, but it loses some of the chaos resistance, so we would still be at 75 chaos resistance, or in our case 76 is the cap, because we got one point over here which gives us to max chaos res. But really nothing too important here. I mentioned Wind Scream are basically the same exact boots, but we got Wind Shrieks. These can be like 30 chaos, 40 chaos. Nothing too important here to mention that I already haven't mentioned. But one thing that I do want to mention that is actually something cool is these flasks. And you're going to have to go to the Path of Exile official site for this, because the reason why is because a lot of other search websites won't have it, but some may have it. But I just like the official website specifically for this reason. So I already talked about this one over here, where it's used when you take a savage hit, the Forbidden Taste. I really recommend that on like every single build that I play, up until I get to the point where I feel like I don't really mind if I die, and that usually is once you're like relatively high level and you're satisfied with like perhaps your defensive stats, so you don't just simply either don't die, or you're like, okay, I'm totally fine, because it takes so long to go from, let's say, like 95 plus in this game. But let me go and open up the official Path of Exile trade website, and what you would look for is any of the flasks that you currently have. So let's say like Quicksilver, and keep in mind you don't have to get this if you don't want to. It's just something that I personally really like. So you would go to the official Path of Exile trade website, and then you type in used, and then it'll say like used when, and then I like to do used when charges reach full. And so what this does is it makes it so the flasks will automatically use when it reaches full. Depending on the one that you want, they're like 5 to 10 chaos a piece. It does kind of add up when you want like 4 flasks, but I really recommend that. I'm still running the Quicksilver flask, still running this Silver Flask for the Onslaught, and I'm also running the Granite Flask. The other modifiers that you could look into, and this is again kind of optional, I like the modifiers. Now you can roll these with the Orbs of Alteration once you get these. It will not change the used when charges reach full, but what you want to try to do is you can gain a flash charge when you deal a critical strike. So you can see I'm trying to get some of these. This one over here has it. This one over here has it. They all have chance to gain flask when you deal a critical strike. And since we're going to be hitting so much, that really helps out sustain on things that we wouldn't be killing them, but we would be hitting them when we deal that critical strike. So again, nice little bonus with those. And I'm still running Dodri. So pretty much what it comes down to is on maps, I only have to activate Dodris, or like just when I'm playing the game, all I have to do is activate Dodris. The rest will just be on auto cast, which is really helpful, and I like that. Another few things that you can do for this part at this point in the game is, if you have the currency, get a Awaken added cold damage, as well as getting a Watcher's Eye. Now Watcher's Eye is a jewel, so you'll put it in your tree, but what it does give you is you want to search for this one, and I'll show you how to search for it. So you would do while affected by hatred. So you would type in Watcher's Eye from the search, and then you want to type in while affected by hatred. So you can see there's increased cold damage, physical damage converted to cold. You can get multiple of these on the same jewel, but it's very expensive. The one that's going to give you the most benefit in the very beginning is the adds number of cold damage while affected by hatred, which is what I just searched up for. I just typed in 2 exalts as max price. They're about 2 exalts at the cheaper end, but they can go up to insane prices. Like if you were to get one that has adds cold damage and then also affected by hatred. if I can spell. Okay, so if we get the adds percent cold damage and the other one, the one that just has one of these will be, well, you can get increased the cold damage percent for like 1 exalt, but like 2 exalts you'll get the number of cold damage. But if you want both of these, it's going to be like 20 exalts. Now you can go even further with some of these, and you can get, okay, this is physical damage converted to lightning, but if you can get like a triple Watcher's Eye, they're very, 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 very expensive, and most people will never ever get them. But if you really want to, you have a lot of currency, the getting double is very, very good to get as a bonus. But there's lots of different modifiers that you might be using an aura, and you get the other benefit, because usually what it'll have is like, while affected by like this aura or another aura, like there's up to 3 modifiers that you can get, and they get very, very expensive. But the Awakening Cold damage is like a real easy swap. But yeah, if you do get a Watcher's Eye, that's like a jewel, you put it in your tree, but don't replace the Lion Ice Fall. Replace like whatever one that you would want to replace, like for example this one or something like that. But yeah, you would definitely replace it, and that would significantly increase your DPS. I want to get an Awakened Cold damage since I actually really like the jewels that I have. But a Watcher's Eye is another good investment for pretty much every single build. You're only limited to 1 of them though. Otherwise, it'd be so insane if you can have multiples. But that's going to pretty much wrap it up for this part of our play session. Keep in mind that we still have more content and other things to go over, because we just defeated those 4 bosses, and we got all the faces ready to go for another super boss. And on top of that, we got another super boss. There's basically 2 more like really big bosses that a lot of people like to complete as their journey progression through the season, or like in this case the new expansion. But anyways, thanks for tuning in, guys. If you enjoyed this part, drop a like on it. I'll see you guys in the next part very soon. Peace.